Yes, a Blessingway ceremony. These have been done for hundreds of years. A lot of people feel that they come from the Navajo nations, but actually, many Native American tribes did blessing ways in different ways, and different pagan traditions from Europe. They did their own kinds of blessing ways, but basically, it's ceremony to help bless the way for the individual who is moving on to a new phase of their life. It's there
Mm-hmm.
to celebrate these rites of passages that we go through in life. And this is what I love about Blessing Ways, because I feel like the the art of celebrating these rites of passages have been kind of let go of over
Mm-hmm.
the centuries. I feel like this is a way to kind of bring back some of this ancient wisdom and sacred energy back into our lives. And it's such a beautiful way to integrate the sacred back into your life, to
Yeah.
hold space for these people moving into these new phases. So there's different times, of course, as women, and oftentimes these were held for women, that we go through these phases. And one is when a girl received her moon time for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The elders in the community or the women would come together and they would create a moon time blessing way for this young girl who's moving into womanhood. And the women would come and give her advice about what it means to be a woman and the different challenges that she may experience, and give her a blessing as she moved forward in her life as a woman. And you don't see that anymore. You don't see us honoring when we get our cycles, our menstruation, and celebrating that
Mm-hmm.
with our elders. You don't see that tribe and that community come together. And that was done. Another blessing way is when we shift from the maiden to a mother. When we are ready to give birth to a child, the women would come together and create a blessing way ceremony to empower her with strength and wisdom. So when she went through the birthing process and transitioned from the maiden to the mother, she would feel the
Yeah.
support of women and the
Yeah.
empowerment of that blessing way for her.
I
Just gives me
wanted
chills
to, I
thinking
know,
about it. It's so
seriously.
beautiful.
I wanted to read a little bit in this book. It's called Blessing Ways. It's a guide. It's a guide to mother-centered baby showers. um, we can put that in the show notes. But in this book, she talks about how a lot of times nowadays we do like baby gifts, like baby showers, where you're getting gifts for the baby or how to help with the mom and the dad financially, like help get all those things going. And a blessing way is a little bit different in that aspect. And so I just wanted to read this paragraph that I have highlighted because it's so beautiful. It says, the ceremony gives the mother a chance on a smaller scale to yield to her own inner power and the emotional power of having another woman fully supporting her, to go with the flow of energy created as an existence unfolds, to acknowledge that birth can be mysterious, challenging, unpredictable, magical, intuitive, and sacred, and to fill with all her being the sanctity of giving life and the support that she receives from those around her. And it really is
Beautiful.
this beautiful way of nurturing. A lot of times you'll see people who will maybe do henna on the belly or wash the expecting mother's feet with rose water. There's so many different ways that people do things and what they feel like they want to do or what they feel comfortable with. But it really is a way of honoring and saying, hey, look, I honor that divine feminine within you. And this rite
Yes.
of passage is such a gift. It's such a like a channel of this new life force energy. And we as soul sisters are here to support you and to bless you and to be with you. And I think it's beautiful that this can be done in different aspects of life as well, right? Candace talking about the moon
Mhm.
time. There's also times when there's baby births or when maybe a woman loses her spouse, whether it's to death or maybe there's a separation or divorce. There's a lot of times where this is very appropriate to help them claim that inner wisdom, we remind them of their purpose, of why they're here. Maybe that's grieving with them and loving them and honoring and pampering them. You know, when a
Yes.
woman is also going into menopause or transitioning into this new phase of womanhood as well, it's such a beautiful way of honoring these beautiful steps in life. And of course, there
Yes.
are a lot of traditions that the males also participated in. But this one, the blessing ways that we're talking about right now, are definitely centered in more of that feminine support, but it doesn't mean that they don't have anything for the masculine energy as well.
And we are healing this right now within us. Not only are we
Yeah.
all integrating more of that divine feminine within us, the masculine, the males and the females, and or everyone, let's just say everyone is integrating these energies in their lives. It is it's important to create space where women are supporting women, because women's relationships with each other are shifting and they're healing. You know, we're coming out of that survival space, competitive energy. And I think this is why this is coming up and wanting to be reclaimed within our daily lives and in our societies and our cultures, because um, it's so healing and it's so empowering to feel that love and that support from your tribe of women.
Hmm.
I did a blessing way for my friend Megan, and what I did for that is that I had everybody bring a snack, and everything that they brought as food, I told them to have it have a feeling of a goddessy energy. So they brought things like chocolate covered strawberries and figs and different things that reminded them of that feminine energy. And when they arrived, I had everybody smudge before they entered the sacred circle. And
Hmm.
we came into that sacred space. We all meditated together. And the first part of the ceremony was us just talking about sharing some of our stories of motherhood and empowerment with each other, and things that certain people wanted to share with Megan. And then we had Megan talk about some of her fears around giving birth, to be able to give it a voice and to get it out. And we wrote it down on a paper, and we created a mini fire ceremony in the middle of the circle after she
Mm.
talked about it, to release those fears into the fire and to give it over to spirit, so that way spirit could come to support her and heal some of these fears. And then what we did is we all brought a bead, and something that, actually 3 beads a person, and we went around the circle and we created a necklace of these beads, with imbued with the prayers and intentions of each woman. And each woman, when it came to her turn, would hold the bead and say, this bead symbolizes this for you. May you be blessed with this or that, or this or that, or may you feel empowered by this. And then they would blow those prayers into the bead, and they would pass it over to me. And then I would string it on, put it on a string. And we just
Mm.
went around and we created a bead, a necklace of beads that she could wear while she was in labor. And just to remind her, as she was in labor, of the power of the women in her tribe that are supporting her and blessing her and giving her this strength.
So beautiful.
And then what we did is we did a rose foot bath and a hair brushing ceremony. And so we had one woman who would work on her feet while the other woman brushed, and we all took turns. Some of the women did shoulder massages and hand massages and foot massages, and then we would brush her hair. And it all symbolized giving her strength and love and nurturing energy to nurture her before she brought in this new life into the world, so she could infuse herself with that nurturing energy. And she just cried, as we went through that
Yeah.
experience, because she's like, I have never felt so loved, because as we were brushing her hair and giving her massages and her foot massage and bath, we were just infusing it with all of this nurturing, mothering energy into her. So that way she would just could fill her cup
It's so
and
beautiful.
filling that nurturing energy. And then after we did that, we placed a crown of flowers on her head. And then at the end of our ceremony, we got a long red string, and we tied the string around each person's wrist around the circle to remind her of our connection and our support for her, the fact that we supported her as a tribe and we believed in her. We believed in her power. We believed in her wisdom. We believed in everything that she carried within her as a wise woman and mother on this beautiful journey, and blessed her on the journey. And then we cut the string and tied these red strings around our wrist. And then when she went into labor, she sent out a text message to the whole group. And we all kept those wristbands, those red wristbands, until she went into labor. And then when she went to labor, we all lit a candle and took a picture of that and sent it over to her, again with an additional blessing and prayer for her. And then after the baby was born, we all cut the red yarn bracelet off of our hands to symbolize our release. So that was our Blessingway ceremony for her. And one of the things that we also took away is when we were doing the beads, we had a person write down what bead every person brought and the prayer or the blessing that came with that bead. And I gave her a beautiful box at the end of the evening to put all of the things inside of the box from her Blessingway, just little things that we did, what the beads meant, her beads, some flower petals. And she ended up putting her crown, parts of her crown in there and all the different things that we had of that evening. And so that way in the future, if she wants to show that to her child, she can say, I did this Blessingway ceremony and these were the blessings and the prayers that I received from my tribe, and to bless me and to bless you on your journey here in this life. And it's just a wonderful, beautiful, sacred experience.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is so